Life is life. Life is an interesting journey of ups and downs. But how that journey ends is up to you today. You see, when you fall down and you feel like giving up, when times get tough, it's not the end. The question is, are you going to finish strong? The definition of a disability is something that will hinder you from being able to do something. I think, though, the greatest disability is not having no arms and no legs. The greatest disability is your mind, the choices that you make. The question is, are you going to make the right choices? Are you going to make the choice to have your life in its right perspective? Are you going to make the choice to get up instead of give up? Are you going to make the choice to dream big? There is no greater disability that we have in our life than to make the decision to give up. Because once you give up, then there is no hope. But until you give up, there is that hope. My passion is to encourage people, to inspire people to be all that they can be. I found my purpose, I found my strength, and I want you to find yours. Don't be afraid of failing. Every time you fall down, every time you fail, you learn something new. You're ready for the next one. You've learned how not to do something. Well, then learn from it and move on. Leave what's behind and press forward. You can only win if you don't give up. Go for it. Don't let anything hold you back. If nothing's holding me back, what's holding you back?
Heard a motivational speaker tell you that attitude is everything? I'll bet you have. I've heard many say that. In fact, they'll say something like, if you can believe it, you can achieve it. And that never quite rang true with me. So I began to press the issue, and I have come to the conclusion that attitude isn't everything. Now, I'm not disclaiming or in any way being disparaging about attitude, because I think attitude is very important. But if anybody comes up to you, tells you that attitude is everything, I don't buy into that. That's not true. For example, attitude can't replace incompetence. If you're incompetent, you can be very happy, but you can still be very unsuccessful. Now, here's what I do know. Attitude isn't everything, but attitude is the main thing that'll make a difference in your life. And because I believe that, I wrote the book, The Difference Maker. You see, that's what attitude is. Attitude is the difference maker. You have two people side by side that you're thinking about employing in your company. Both of them have the same background, same job description, education, experience. I mean, you could almost flip a coin and say, I could hire the one on the right or I could hire the one on the left. But one has a great attitude and one has a bad attitude. Now, who are you going to hire? You're going to hire the person with a great attitude. Why? Because it was the difference maker.
I see every day people with this mentality that the world owes them something. And it's popular now to talk about entitlement and everybody deserves and all these different things that people like to bitch and cry about. But people come at life with the wrong attitude, okay? And they don't like hearing the truth. And the truth of the matter is this. The world owes you nothing. The world doesn't think you're special like your mom does. It doesn't think you're a delicate little flower. It doesn't care about you. Now, with that being said, the world doesn't hate you. It doesn't want you to fail. It just is, okay? And I see so many people going through their life with this overwhelming feeling of either A, the world owes me something, or B, the world hates me. And the reality is it's neither. And what's common amongst this group of people that I find is that, both these groups of people that I find, is that they're missing the understanding of what it means to be successful. And let me get at exactly what the cause of this is. The cause of this is they're selfish. They're self-centered. They're self-focused. They're only worried about what they see in the mirror. And they go around through their daily life trying to manipulate the world in a way that's going to serve them. But here's the thing, guys. If that's the way you go through life, if you go through life trying to figure out a way for the world to get you something, for you to be successful, at the expense of others, or for you to get ahead at the expense of others, your success or any success that you're able to build or momentum you're able to build is going to be very short-lived, guys. And that's not the right way to do things, okay? That's why you see the same people, who make money real fast, lose money real fast. That's why you see the same people who, have a little bit of success and then go back to the way they were. And then they might find a new quote unquote thing to do. And they make a little bit of money and they go back to the way they were. And the problem with this mentality, guys, is that it's a mentality that is not of service. Okay. And if you want to be truly successful in life, you have to be selfless, and you have to understand that being selfless and being of service to other people is the only true way to find long-term success.
He says, I want you to understand something about this process. I'm getting ready to go through some things. And when I go through things, it's going to escalate. He said, they're going to mock me. They're going to scourge me. They're going to crucify me. They're going to mock me. That's verbal. They're going to scourge me. That's beatings. They're going to crucify me. That's killing. Whenever God is getting ready to promote you, there will always be an escalation of trouble. I don't know who that was for, but it was worth coming through the rain to get. Whenever God is getting ready to promote you, there will always be an escalation of trouble. He said, they're going to mock me. They're going to scourge me. They're going to crucify me. It's going to start out amongst my own people. And he said, then they're going to turn me over to the Gentiles, and it's going to get worse. Whenever the enemy knows you have a destiny, he will always send a distraction to stop you from getting to your destiny. And the distraction will always escalate before it gets better. They're going to mock me. They're going to scourge me. They're going to crucify me. Are you here? The enemy comes to kill, to steal, and destroy. It's always going to get worse before it gets better. You have to understand that when all of this is said and done, are you sure you can handle the process before you ask for the promise? Because I'm not going to let you sit in my seat until you suffered with me. Jesus says you cannot reign with me if you do not suffer with me. I don't know who I'm talking to. I know this is not a regular Mother's Day message, but I'm telling you, to him whom much is given, much is required. And before you ask for something, look in that cup. Because Jesus said, you're talking about the place you want to sit, and I'm talking about the cup I got to drink. Are you so focused on where you want to sit that you haven't looked at what you have to drink to get there? What amazed me about the text is that Jesus tells this mama, be careful what you ask for. You are asking for your kids to die. I can't put them in that position if they can't handle this cup. And he says baptism. Let me break this baptism for you new Bible scholars. Baptism is about death. It's not about water. When Jesus says, I have a baptism to be baptized with, he's not talking about water. He already came up out of the water. He's talking about what the water typified, which is the grave. And when he told them, you got to drink the cup and you got to go through the baptism, these dummies said, we got this. This text illustrates how we underestimate what it takes to get to the next level. That we are caught up in the allurement of who sits on the right and who sits on the left. But we have not looked in the cup nor inspected the cross, which is the path to the position. We want the promise without the problems. We want acknowledgement without agony. We want riches without work. Talk to me now. Talk to me now. Talk to me now. We want fame without loneliness. We want pleasure without pain. I'm sorry. You know not what you ask. Before you ask God for the chair, be sure you look in the cup. Because between you and the chair is always a cup. And this mother knew not what she asked for because she was distracted by the attraction of the position. And she never understood the pain that goes along with every position. Every position has its pain. I'm gonna try y'all. Every position has its pain. If you're gonna be a homeowner, that's a great position, but it's got some pain to it. It's got some maintenance you didn't have to have before. It's got some issues you didn't have to deal with it before. If you own your own car, that's a nice shiny car you got, but you're gonna need some gas, and you're gonna need some tires, and you're gonna run out of oil, and you're gonna need to change the battery. See, we want positions without pain. We want to sit in the seat, but we don't want to drink from the cup. And when Jesus told her how much it cost, when he told her how much it cost, we're not talking about a check. We're talking about dying.
Yes, sir.
When he told her what it cost, they said, we got this. Really? Really? He says, before I get to the resurrection, I'm going to be mocked, I'm going to be scourged, and I'm going to be crucified. My final 5 minutes is to all of those who are somewhere in that stage of being mocked or being scourged or being crucified. You're going through humiliation right now. Your life is a mockery. Let me testify. Many times in my life has been a mockery. Many times the things that I did publicly, I struggle with privately. Can I be real with you? Many times I could help you with your stuff and couldn't fix mine. Can I be real with you? Many times my life was a mockery. How could you be so strong about this and so weak about this? It was a mockery. Have you ever had something happen to you that mocked everything you stood for? That said, I thought you was a Christian. I thought you was a man of faith. I thought you were a woman of power. I thought you were counseling other people's marriages. I thought you. I want to talk to the people that life mocked you. Life mocked you. You're running a counseling center and your daughter pregnant. Life mocked you. You helping your girlfriend with her marriage and your husband just walked out the back door. Is there anybody in here that life mocked you? You're gonna get mocked sometime. You're gonna get beat sometime. If you never get beat, you'll never understand how to win. If you never get beat, you won't respect the game. If you never get beat, you'll never understand who you are. I want to talk to somebody who's going through a period where life has beat you down. You almost didn't even come to church today because life has beat you down. Make some noise if I'm preaching to you. And then you can be mocked in private and you can be beaten in private, but you can only be crucified in public. He said, they're going to mock me. They're going to beat me. And then I'm going to go through public humiliation. They're going to crucify me. Nail me so I can't get out of it. Strip me naked and expose me to the world. And the terrible thing about being stripped naked is that it always creates shame, even though the shame is foolish, because your nakedness is no different than mine. Your issues are no different than mine. Your secrets are no different than mine. Your situations are no different than mine. But when somebody strips you and puts you on public display, you feel like you're in a situation all by yourself. Is there anybody in here feel like you are all by yourself? So Jesus told the woman, he said, they're going to mock me. He said, then they're going to beat me. And then they're going to crucify me. He said, but when they get through crucifying me, let me tell you what's going to happen next. Touch your neighbor and tell him your story is not over. Your story is not over. After you suffered a while, if you can stand up to them talking about you, if you can stand up to getting beat sometime, if you can stand up to being crucified sometime, weeping may endure for a night, but joy is coming in the morning. Though it gets tough, though it gets tight, though it gets painful, don't give up. When you're publicly humiliated, don't give up. Because if you can hang on in there, early Sunday morning, you'll rise again. I'm crying right now, but I'll rise again. I'm bruised right now, but I'll rise. The Lord told me to be sure to tell you that on your journey, it will not always be the people that you expect to bless you. Sometimes God will use people in the world, people who don't even speak your language, people from the other side of the tracks to bless you and just keep on gathering the wood. Now watch, in the process of gathering the wood, Paul gets up and tries to help him. And he's gathering wood for the fire. You know the story. And he gathered up this wood. Isn't it a shame when you have to work and you're tired? And you just came out of a storm. And you can't even get your breath from the storm you just got out of. And now you're having to gather wood. So he's trying to work while weary. And when you're working and weary, you pick up stuff, you don't even know what you're picking up. And he's working tired. Anybody been working tired? And you tired, but you can't take a vacation because a vacation is not an option, and you in survival mode, and you just got to get up anyway, and your back is hurting, and your knee is hurting, and your head is spinning, but you got to do what you got to do. It's like that. And he's grabbing wood, and he's grabbed the wood, and he's moving it to the fire. Watch it. As long as it wasn't close to the fire, you couldn't tell what you had. But the closer he got to the fire, because when he gets close to the fire, the snake comes out. Snakes don't come out till you're close to the fire. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying to you. Oh my God, you're making me want to preach this morning. You see, if you understand what I'm saying, I just helped you to figure out where you are. If you got snakes coming out, it's a sign that you're close to the fire. If you wasn't close to the fire, the snakes wouldn't be coming out. But when you see your enemy slithering out trying to bite you, it's only a sign that you're closer than you've ever been in your life. Half time somebody say, I'm close right now. Watch this. Watch this. The snake comes out and bites him. Bites him. Not just bites him, fastens itself to him. Lord told me to tell you, be careful who you let fasten themselves to you. Yeah. See, it's one thing to bite you. It's another thing to fasten. The snake fastened itself to him. Whenever you're about to do something mighty for God, snakes will fasten themselves to you. And the snake fastened himself to it. And the barbarians looked at him and said, he must be a murderer. And maybe he was a murderer trying to escape, but justice let it happen. The interesting thing to me is that Paul did not respond to the allegation. He didn't say, oh no, that's not what happened. That's not who I am at all. I'm really a great man of God, and this is just happening. He didn't say a word. The best response to criticism is success. So rather than to defend yourself, or your integrity, he just keeps on doing what he's doing. Now the snake has attached itself to him. The people think that what has happened to him, he brought it on himself. He doesn't respond to any of it. He keeps on doing what he's doing. And over time, see, some folk need a little time. They're judging your heart right now, but you need a little time. When they saw that he didn't swell up, and he didn't change colors, and he didn't die. And the Lord told me to tell somebody, you've been trying to ask God, why did you let this happen to me? God said he let it happen to you so that people could see that what you've been through should have killed you. But when they saw you survive, it was a sign that you were not in that thing by yourself. Look at somebody say, it took all of that. So the barbarians who thought he was a murderer, when they saw him survive the bite, they changed their mind and said he was a god. See, the same people who curse you one moment will say Hosanna the next moment. But you got to maintain your focus and keep on doing what God told you to do. The Lord told me to be sure to tell you that on your journey, it will not always be the people that you expect to bless you. Sometimes God will use people in the world, people who don't even speak your language.